about the dangers of the colonics and expose them once and for all, just to kind of get it out there what these real dangers are. Now, the perceived dangers that people think of the colonics is that the first thing is that you could like rupture the colon in any way, shape, or form. That's not possible. There's absolutely no way in any way, shape, or form to damage or rupture the colon with the colonics. The next perceived danger that people discuss is the good bacteria. What about the good bacteria? Well, the reality is, if you look at the historical lineages of colon cleanses, there's nothing with the protocol that involves putting good bacteria back in. Most people that come through here, just about everybody, has a huge deficit of good bacteria and overabundance of bad bacteria and candida. And the reality is as far as the pounds of rotting shit that comes out of the colon would far outweigh any microdot of good bacteria. Some places give you like a little pill afterwards, and if they do, it's out of their scope of practice. They can sell you probiotics, but they can't sit there and administer. It's considered practicing medicine. It's not in their scope of practice. And what's in that capsule is, again, not even a grain of sand on a beach. Plus, you know, when you take probiotics orally, when you're up like moving around, the stomach produces acid, and so none of it actually makes it. None of the good bacteria makes it to the colon. The biggest dangers of the good bacteria is antibiotics. And after an antibiotic regimen, antibiotics just bulldoze good and bad bacteria. It doesn't decipher between a friendly bacteria and a bad bacteria. It just whitewashes the pre and the probiotics in the system big time. The best time to do a probiotic regimen would be after an antibiotic regimen. And antibiotics far, 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 far outweigh taking the good bacteria out of the colon than the colonics do. And the colon cleansing has been around since like the beginning of time. And back in the old days, they would hollow out a small piece of a branch and stick it in their bum and bend over in the river and let the current of the river flush them out. And that sweeping throughout all the historical lineages of colonics, there's absolutely nothing. There's not an iota of anything about any ramifications because they stripped the good bacteria from colon cleansing. It's just not possible. The other big culprit on the good bacteria would be the food supply. Our meat supply is packed full of antibiotics, and our cows and beef and stuff is raised in such toxic environments, they just pump them full of antibiotics. And the same thing with the shrimps that are grown in these shrimp farms, are like grown in these massive sewage swamps, and again, just pounded full of antibiotics. So the meat supply, the chicken, the beef, the pork, the shrimp, is so full of antibiotics. Where the good bacteria has been bulldozed is basically the entire food industry. Everything's been hydrogenated. I mean, not hydrogenated, but homogenized and pasteurized. So they've completely whitewashed any of the good bacteria as far as foods that would help develop good bacteria. And so the big culprits on, stripping the good bacteria is the antibiotics and the food supply. And the other thing about bacteria is good bacteria can't thrive in the energy of resentment, and bad bacteria, candida, loves resentment. And when a person feels resentment, it gives the candida the perfect pH to really multiply and develop big time. And so that's the other thing that bulldozes the good bacteria is resentment. So we have resentment, the food industry, and the antibiotics, but not with the colonics. Not with purified water, where you're just filling with water and pushing it out a handful of times. Is not going to strip the good bacteria. And they're really picking on the colonic industry when there's absolutely nothing there. I've never done a good bacteria after a colonic. Never had any ramifications whatsoever. And usually we like people to kind of get cleaned out, and once we get some colonics and some herbs and get most of the, the shit out of the colon, we can then like do a massive probiotic regimen where they're taking a mega dose before they go to sleep at night, because your stomach doesn't produce acid when you're laying down. So as you're sleeping, it slowly leaves the stomach and does its process through the small and the large intestine, and then hit another dose when you first wake up in the morning. And so you can't strip the good bacteria, you can't blow the colon up or rupture the colon. The other danger is people look at the colonics as something that would kind of concern them is, do I have to shit in front of somebody? And the machines are absolutely private, so the release part is just you, and no one's standing over there and watching you go to the bathroom. That's the other kind of perceived danger is, you know, the first kind of, not even a conscious thought, but the subconscious thought of the brain would be like, I have not been anywhere around anybody since I have been potty trained. Usually when I go big potty, that's me time. And so that's kind of just a little subconscious danger. But the good bacteria and rupturing the colon, people are like, oh my God, kids can do colonics? And I go, absolutely. You can't hurt yourself with the colonics. I'm the other way. I'm like, oh my God, kids can do Happy Meals and sodas, and you know, infants can be shot up with mercury and all this crap and these immunizations. And that's what's really hurting people, not the colonics, though. Not the colonics. And so then and the other danger as far as sanitation and stuff, our machines are completely washed down with medical grade CDC disinfectant. The machines are just like using a toilet. And so the actual basin part that you're like sitting on doesn't get like shit all over it. That happens all inside the basin, which is also sanitized out each time. And the tubes are sterile, disposable speculums, you know, single-use throwaway each time. So you can't get any kind of cross-contamination. There's absolutely nothing there of that ever happening in the colonic industry because it's not possible. So then when you look at the dangers of the colonics and why they're so like an uproar about it, is the biggest danger that I found in the 17 years we've been doing colonics, the biggest danger is the profit margin to the GI industry. I mean, X-Lax alone. And if people got colonics and got cleaned out, you know, and did some like aloe vera to heal the mucosal lining and took some essential fatty acids to help heal mucosal lining, and, you know, did a nice probiotic regimen after getting cleaned out, big industry goes out the window. Big industry. So I hope this helps kind of demystify some of the stuff about colonics. You can't hurt yourself on the colonic machine. And in the 17 years we've been doing colonics, the worst cases of mayhem that we've had in here have all been stress related. Every one of them. People come in, they're really uptight, nervous about the process, or and also when you're doing colonics, it stirs up around the solar plexus, which is where your feeling brain is. And so if there's like negative emotions, it will become exacerbated with the colonics. But all the disasters that we've seen over the years have all been stress related. None of them have been due to the equipment or people hurting themselves or rupturing themselves or having any kind of ramification. So I hope this helps. Get cleaned out. Feel amazing. Until next time, keep it positive. Peace.